All right, everyone. Welcome to CSMI's Christian Music Radio Show. Today's Christian music. We have Addison Horner with us, and we go back a few years. He came to
hmm
Gatlinburg and shared some beautiful music with us. And I always thought it was innovative, very creative, good writer, very good writer.
Well, thank
And
you.
so, Addison, we're glad to have you today. And you have moved now from Florida to North Carolina.
Yes, into the cold, into the storm.
Wow. Well, Florida had some cold days too, but
I
uh,
saw that. Not as cold as North Carolina. Not as cold as Nashville in that area too, I think.
Nashville got literally pounded with an ice storm, just devastated.
Yeah, that was
I would
wild.
bet every fifth tree in that town don't look the same.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, where are you at in North Carolina?
I'm in Holly Springs, which is just south of like Raleigh, like right in the
Yep,
center of the state.
I've been right by there. That's Andy Griffith country.
Yeah.
Wow, wild. Well, tell us how you came to the Lord. Let's start with that.
Yeah, so it's the memory that I have that really sticks with me is sitting in kind of like my bunk bed. I think it was a bunk bed in my bedroom with like this children's storybook Bible with my mom. I was 4, maybe 5, and talking about basically the very basic idea of Jesus loves you. Jesus sacrificed his life for that love for you, and he invites you to be with him in heaven. And for me, it was about like that idea of heaven and getting to be with Jesus in heaven that really drew me in. But then as I got older, it's where I actually learned what does all that mean for the greater context of the Christian life. And that's been a journey I'm still unraveling to this day. But that's where it all started. And so, yeah, I grew up in church and grew up around that whole Christian environment as part of that journey.
And I really love to hear that. And so tell me when you started writing music, what really gave you the impetus to write and to create music?
Yeah, so my mom was a pianist, and she had myself and my older brother and younger sister all do piano lessons and such, and we were young. And my brother and sister stuck with it for a little while, but then I just kind of kept going. I think I was really drawn to it. I had a very like goody two shoes achiever type personality where it's like if I'm good at it, I wanted to do it, and that's where it started for me, which is interesting. But I thought I'm good at piano, I want to keep doing it, and for me that expanded into a couple of things. Expanded into me learning how to write music and poetry and words and put them together. And then to learn guitar as well, and then to in middle school start writing songs and singing songs at church a little bit, and then it also led to this idea of the idea of how can I create music and create words and create stories that honor God. And that part really, as I got into high school and then into college, getting a music degree, helped me kind of explore the idea of like not just creating music for myself because I think I'm good at it or because it's an achievement, but because it's something that is a gift from God to us as people and to us as individuals. And I get to explore that. So for me, it was just this thing where I started taking piano lessons, and then I kept going and kept learning and exploring and meeting new people until all of a sudden I found myself just writing songs in exploration of this gift that God had given me.
How great! When you started writing songs, what were your first few songs? Were they on piano or guitar?
They were on piano. Oh man, it's funny to think about that. Yeah, I wrote on piano first because I really leaned into guitar in high school, but I played piano since I was really young. So yeah, I started writing like these really silly, super cheesy love songs when I was in middle school. Is how it first started on piano. But then I also actually wrote. I have one that sticks out to me. I wrote this one Christian song for myself and for a girl at church that I knew to sing as well. And that was interesting for me because that was my first experience to start writing something that was different, more in the worship sphere and more in the Christian sphere to explore those themes as well. But it was all yeah, mostly piano based, a little bit of guitar based because piano is like my home instrument. It's where I'm more comfortable doing that than singing or anything else that I do.
Now, do you record in house, or when you recorded music in Florida, did you go to a studio?
I record in-house for the most part. So I have a degree in music production from Elon University in North Carolina. Fantastic school. I loved it there, and fantastic music program. And then I mostly recorded using the equipment and the tools I picked up there. But I also did some work in studios. There's a studio TSM in Orlando that was really wonderful. I recorded vocals there. I've farmed out some other recording of instruments and such to other friends at their studios for like the other electric guitar and bass and drums, those things as well. But when it comes to the core stuff like the piano, the vocals, acoustic guitar, I mostly do that in house.
Wow. Now you're still writing, right? You're still writing music and
I am not as I'm not writing as much music these days, and part of that has been the transition to becoming a dad, which has been
oh,
absolutely wild. I'll try not to linger too far there unless you have more questions about that. But we had a son who was born in December 2023, and he was born 3 months early. So that really changed a lot of the focus of what I was doing day to day. And since then, I've been teaching music regularly, but I haven't written as much until actually very recently. Funnily enough, I just this week put out a few recordings of children's music songs for my son that are out on Spotify and everywhere now.
how neat is that? Um, so you joined CSMI, you were up
Mhm.
for like a competition and you did a song for, I forgot the name of the song. It was fabulous.
Thank you.
Something about the moon.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it's a shoot for the moon. It's for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. There is from Huntsville. There's this big competition to write like moon themed songs, and so that's what I wrote "Shoot for the Moon" for.
I still have a good memory on that.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
what, when you put out an album,
Hmm.
because I know I've played some of the videos on our TV show.
Mm.
Uh, but so you have a degree in music, so you can do in-house recording and production and all of that then?
That's right. Yeah, and it's been a blast because I never saw myself as an engineer, and I still kind of don't, but like I know how to do all the stuff. And for me, it's more about I see myself as a creator. And so having the in-house studio tools is just part of the idea of just creating music and coming up with ideas and exploring ideas. So yeah, it's been a gift to be able to do that in my own studio, in my own house.
How cool is that? Wow, the song sounded really well done that I heard. So,
I appreciate
uh,
that.
what are like you teach? Tell us about that. You teach music. Just tell us. What do you have students, or are you at a school, or?
Yeah, so I currently teach privately, and as I've just moved to Holly Springs in the last couple months, I'm still building my studio up from scratch again, which has been a very fun challenge. But that started because the one thing I was sure about when I was in school was that I would never teach music lessons. I was positive. I was like, that's not my direction. That's not what God has for me. And obviously, as we often are, I was wrong. The journey of studying some pedagogy and teaching a student piano led to me really finding a passion for teaching that I didn't expect. I expected to focus my life's work on being a singer songwriter, on collaborating in that way and making music that way. And that's been a great part of it. But I found so much joy in the teaching as well. So that I've been teaching for probably a little over 10 years at this point. I've taught over 10,000 lessons. And at this point, I taught at the studio in Orlando for several years where I was stationed until I say stationed, where I was living until we moved here. And I teach piano, guitar, ukulele, voice, and then I teach bass sometimes. I teach theory and composition. I'm a music theory nerd, so that's kind of where my some of my passion lies in teaching. And that's the journey I've been on that I certainly was not expecting when I was going for a music degree. But
So are
that's
you able, Addison, let's say we have 450 artists with CSMI. If
mhm.
someone sent you a piano vocal, you could orchestrate that?
Yeah, I can. And so I have like some like the basic like plugins, etc., for doing that. But what I'm love to do is I'm getting established here is getting more relationships with local musicians to do recording,
Hmm.
to do like strings and things like that. So when I was in Orlando, I had several like I had like violinists and a couple of cellists that I worked with a few times to actually do orchestrations for my own music and for some other recordings. And that kind of thing really interests me, and I would love to build it up with more local musicians to create that for people who want to have that kind of orchestration on their recordings.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And So let's get into the technical end. Tell me a little bit about your
Mm.
equipment, what you like vocally, all of that. I don't get into that a lot with artists, but I think I will with you.
Yeah, well, I am. It's funny because, like, I mean, I have the technical training, but I know a lot of my audio engineer friends who have these crazy mic lockers and all preamps and stuff. And I always have just used a really simple setup that's done a great job for me. I use this PreSonus audio box. It's audio box VSL 44, I think it's called. They don't even actually make this particular one anymore, but it's been so reliable for me for several years that I love it. And then I've got a few mics I use, but my favorite is the AKG C214. It's just a condenser mic. You can get it for probably $300-400 on Sweetwater, etc. And it's a really great like mid-level mic if you can afford a spring for like a fancy like Neumann U87, but you still want a really good quality sound. And I actually got this one B stock for even cheaper than that, which is really nice because it gives me the ability to get studio quality sound without having to shell out the thousands of dollars for studio sessions or wild equipment. And with the software and the technology these days, it's really astounding what you can do. Like people are creating like Grammy-nominated stuff just from Logic in their bedrooms, which is just blowing my mind. But there's
Do
so
you
much cool
use
stuff you can
Logic
do.
or do you use Pro Tools?
Logic. I used Pro Tools in school, and by the time I got out of school, I was like, Logic is the way to go for me. I just like the workflow and the layout, the UI, that much more than Pro Tools.
Wow, how neat is that? And then you track on a computer, a
I do.
laptop, or do you
Yeah.
track on a big PC?
Yeah, this MacBook I'm using right here, and that has the capacity to handle everything. I got this one, tricked it out just a little bit to get the processing power that I needed for big projects. And back in, I want to say, yeah, back in 2020, when the pandemic hit, there was a church in Orlando that I worked with to create a couple of virtual programs where we would have like a lot of choir members and pianists and other instrumentalists recording all of their parts separately or like on camera in the church. And then I would take all of that, I would compile the video, I would compile the audio to create these programs for them. And so in the pandemic, that was a unique experience to be able to explore the capabilities of that technology. And so, yeah, I did that through Logic, using Final Cut, using some of Apple's just kind of flagship software for video and audio. And that was just a truly delightful project.
That is so awesome. So tell me a little bit about your family. I know you got married, and family should be very important. So tell me about that. When did you get married, and how's family life?
Yeah, family life is insane and nothing like I expected. Yeah, I've been married for about 8.5 years now. My wife, Karis, we met actually at an internship with a company called Trans World Radio, which is it's a ministry organization that based out of Cary that does broadcasting and radio internet work all across the world. Actually, they have like broadcasting towers and stations across the world. They broadcast into closed countries sometimes, and they do a lot of really cool work using a lot of really interesting technology and programs and the creative work as well. Yeah, but that's where we met, both doing work for that ministry organization as interns. And then, yeah, married for 8.5 years. And we have our little son who was born. He had just turned 2 a couple months ago, which is absolutely insane and breathtaking to be a dad of a 2-year-old.
And his name?
His name is Henry.
Wow. Wow, that's so cool. And you're living in Holly Springs. So tell me a little bit about your goals. Like, this is a big move to go up to North Carolina. What are some of your goals then musically to gain a lot of students for teaching or get involved more with recording? What are you thinking of doing? It sounds like you want to be more on a work the music field like that.
Yeah, it's a balance of a lot of things. So I've as you know, I've written some books and stuff as well. I do some publishing, but I've also found a lot of passion in working with authors to editing. That's a whole separate conversation we can have if you want to. But on the music side, I'm really enjoying establishing my studio by trying to build relationships with the neighborhood that I'm in, with local businesses, to be able to advertise and get the word out. There are some Holly Springs events coming up. And so for musicians and teachers who are looking to build connections with their community, the best way is just to build connections with your community. Now that I'm here, I've got a small student load established. I'll be doing more outreach through social media, through in-person building relationships with business owners to be able to spread the word about my music. On the recording side, I mean, after Henry was born, I did almost nothing on the recording side for probably almost 2 years. So now that I've started doing that a little bit again, the idea of pursuing that more with like local musicians or if musicians looking for mixing or orchestration is really interesting to me. But that's been kind of a backseat to me teaching. I think the goal for me has been, how can I create a flourishing, creative, and professional life where I can maximize the time I get with my family? And
Right.
that's been part of the goal of Holly Springs, because I grew up in North Carolina actually, and my parents and my siblings and cousins live like in Sanford and Fuquay in those areas, which means that we are now closer to family and have that much richer family life for it. So that's the big reason we're here, and I'm hoping now that I'm here, we can make the most of it professionally, but also on a family level.
Now, what does your wife do?
She's an engineer. She's an industrial engineer. That's by trade, and she works for a software company that's doing stuff that I don't understand, because it is very technical and intellectual on a level that my brain is not built for, I think.
So one day we may be driving over a North Carolina bridge. Your wife helped in the engineering process.
So it's funny. It's not that kind of engineering. People think that, but it's more like the computer engineering side. The way she explained it, I always thought it was funny. Basically, there are people who code and create software and do all of this computer-based stuff. And then there are people who use all of the computer-based stuff to do things like build businesses or build roads or whatever. She's a translator between them, which is really fascinating. So she is the person who communicates between everybody and makes all of the technical details and all of the specificities work for everybody involved, which is a really interesting job and really kind of unique role in the 21st century.
Wow, how neat is that? Wow. So tell me a little bit about the Apple Logic platform, because we do have artists that may get a hold of you and want you to do strings or that. What do you like about it? What patches or do you like, and do you use the pianos on it, and give a little bit of idea why you like that over Pro Tools or some of the other DAWs?
Definitely, yeah. So I would say overall, go where you're comfortable. For me, I like Logic, one, because I have an Apple computer, which is made for Logic to run on, but also because for me, it's more directly user-friendly than Pro Tools. It's easier to go ahead and start using it. There's still a learning curve to it, but it's easier to sit down and use it, and it has really excellent stock plugins built in a pretty wide selection. I do use some of their stock plugins, sometimes for pianos and things. I have my own other piano plugins I prefer, like Modart makes some really interesting piano emulations. Waves makes some really interesting ones as well. But the cool thing is Logic is a great platform where it's easy to integrate all of those pieces into one user interface that's really friendly, even for people who are not super familiar with recording or don't have like production degrees like I do, which I really enjoy. I think you look at Pro Tools and it feels like a computer program, and you can look at Logic and it feels more like a playground to create stuff. That's the way I view it, at least. So I love a lot of their stock plugins are really good. They're not going to be as good as something you buy from a really great company like Waves, but they still work. And then if you're able to invest a little bit of money, Waves, Spitfire Audio is another one. There are companies that create really great free plugins for instruments, and also ones you can purchase that are really high quality and get you really great sounds. I've used some of the free Spitfire plugins for strings and things and gotten really great results out of that for recordings.
Wow, how great is that? Let's say, on your album that you did, name some of the songs you recorded for that album. And I know a couple you did video. When you shoot a video, tell me how you do a video. Like, I know you're not bringing in a $5,000 video team, but
no, sir.
Tell me what equipment you use and how you shot some of them videos.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I will tell you that when I did the videos, I did the video for my song "I Don't Know But I Love You," which is probably one of my favorite songs I wrote right after getting married. But that particular song, That particular song was interesting for the music video because we shot it on Wadmalaw Island in South Carolina. We were there for a month in the middle of the pandemic, just like working out of a treehouse, and got my iPhone, scouted out some locations with like the woods and the creeks and the stuff, and we just shot a video on an iPhone, and that was basically it. It was
How did you sing to it? Did you have like a Bluetooth
yeah,
speaker?
we just used a Bluetooth speaker to play the song, and that one was interesting because we actually filmed it at we filmed it with the song playing at double speed, and then we actually went back in and I played it back, making the video half speed so that it looked like normal speed but slowed down, so it kind of looks like I'm moving a little bit in slow motion, but I'm singing and everything is lip synced exactly with that. So for that, I had to bounce the song out at double time. I had to film with a 60 FPS frame rate. And then I had to kind of put all that together in Final Cut to create that kind of slow-mo effect. It doesn't look like it's like slow motion kind of feel, but it looks a little more surreal and a little more dramatic in that way than just standard like you and me talking right now.
How cool is that? That is so neat. And then some of the other songs on the album.
Yeah, so this is my album Steady on My Feet. And this one, I had several songs on there. I had one I really loved. It's called Change with the Seasons. That was all about kind of the idea of it reflects my faith journey where things change, trends change, people change, but learning how to look through all those trends and to be able to recognize like I don't have to change with the things that are changing around me, with the world and the places and the people and the trends and the ideas, just because they are changing. I can think about who am I and where am I placed and what is my role, and that doesn't have to be like subject to like kind of like the winds and the stuff. Thinking like James 1, where it's like you don't have to be driven and tossed about by the waves. That's not an exact scriptural application. It's probably not exactly accurate, but that's kind of the feel that gives me. And that was a song about that. And then yeah, that's kind of the feeling a lot of my songs, I think. Another one, like Steady on My Feet, about this feeling of this unsteadiness that can happen in life. And recognizing that these phases and these things we go through are not permanent. They are all temporary. All of this physical stuff that's around us is not the permanent be all and end all of life or existence or faith, that there is so much more than we can see or comprehend. And I think accepting that without trying to completely wrap my head around it is a really delicate balance that I got to explore, like in that song, Steady on My Feet. So those are the first two songs on the album, and I had a lot of fun. Those are probably some of my favorite songs that I've ever written.
We have our event April 17th to 19th in Gatlinburg. Man, I would love you to come and share your music and your production and stuff like that if you can. It ain't that far anymore, probably only four hours now.
It's a lot closer. It's a lot closer than Orlando was to Gatlinburg.
So I'll have to text you the invite there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
People loved it when you played last time. And so we only have about 5-6 minutes. Tell us what your goals are with your faith, what the future holds, what you'd like to see the Lord do in your life, and then we'll close in prayer.
Definitely, I appreciate that, Gene. So, yeah, I mean, these past 5 or 6 years, especially ever since with kind of getting into like the swing of marriage, getting into like with the pandemic and all this stuff happening that's in our nation and across the world, I think my big prayer and my big desire for myself as I'm learning how to be grown up, a grown up Christian, is to be open and to be listening and to be patient with what the Lord would have to teach me. And that feels kind of almost like a platitude and almost vague, but it really is a matter of me not trying to have an over sufficient amount of confidence in myself, but learning how to trust in something beyond me and not put the weight of truth or reality entirely on my own perception. And so I think learning to see more of what God sees and trusting him to show me what he would show me when it comes to how I relate with my wife, with my son, with my neighbors, with my community, with churches, with people of other faiths, with this country that we're in, with this world. Learning how to do that in a way that shows God's grace and love and goodness, first off to myself and then to people around me. And that's a really weird journey I've been on, but I think that would be overarchingly my prayer for myself and for my family as we continue through this very crazy timeline that we live in.
Now, did you guys get a home in Holly Springs, or you got your own home where you have your studio in it, or?
Yeah, so we bought a house in Holly Springs, and
Wow,
so
how
I'm
cool.
teaching out of there. Yeah, this is the studio, and I've got my upright piano and my guitars and ukuleles on the wall and everything. So
Wow, how neat is that? Well, we're so happy to have been able to spend time with you. You got a little one there, so I imagine
mhm.
during the day, is he at home during the day, or?
He's in daycare most of the time, but he
Oh,
also, because of his premature nature, he gets sick a decent amount, so he spends a decent amount of time at home with us
right.
as well. We both work from home, so we find that dance and that balance of caring for him as much as we can.
Wow. Now, do you have any family or relatives near there?
We do, which is the main reason we moved to North Carolina. So
Right.
we've been able to lean on like my parents are in the area, my brother and his family, my sister, and then cousins as well. So we've been able to. They've already been a wonderful support for us in helping us care for Henry and look out for him as we've been kind of adjusting to it. So that's been a huge blessing.
So it's a big difference from Florida, correct?
Oh yes, and we had wonderful friends and community there, but no family in town, which made a big difference.
Oh, wow. And where were you? Orlando when you lived in Florida?
Yeah, I was in Orlando proper, so not like theme parks, but like UCF area. So not with all the crazy tourist traffic, thankfully.
Oh, my lands, Orlando can be unreal, huh?
It can. I'm enjoying it's a little more rural here, just a little
Right.
bit in Holly Springs, and I'm enjoying the change in scenery.
And you probably have some mountains in the area, right? Nearby?
Yeah, so not directly here. So right in the center of the state, we're halfway between the beach and the mountains, which is great
Oh,
because we can take this weekend. We're actually going to the mountains to celebrate
really?
Valentine's. Yeah, so my wife's birthday is Valentine's Day, so we're
Where
going to
where at?
celebrate. I think we're going to be in. I want to say we're going to be close to Boone,
Oh, Boone.
which I've been several times and I love it there. I love that area.
Really? Wow.
Mhm.
Well,
It's
very
lovely.
good. Well, brother, why don't you close us in prayer, and thank you so much for being a part of the today's Christian music show.
Sure thing, Gene. Heavenly Father God, thank you for the chance to talk with Gene and to share this conversation, this lovely conversation with the people who are listening. Uh, I thank you for the grace you've given us to be able to engage with each other and to talk and to enjoy the incredible gift of music and community and fellowship that you've given us, God. I pray that you would give all of us clarity, peace, wisdom, love for each other and for our neighbors and for ourselves and for you as we are going about the rest of this day. And I thank you for CSMI and for the good that you do through this organization. I thank you for the incredible things that you have in store for the world and for your people. I pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Lord bless you, Addison. You have a great day.
You too, Gene. Thank you.
Yep. Bye now.
Bye.